Welcome to the Ballard Proud podcast. It seems everyone can agree that Ballard is a fantastic school district, and when asked why, the answer always includes some reference to, well, it's people and relationships. So I'm on a mission to get to know the people of Ballard and find out why everyone is so proud to be part of this district. I'm Danny Trimble, Superintendent for the Ballard District, and I'd love for you to come along with me on this journey to uncover what it means to be Ballard Proud. Welcome to this edition of the Ballard Proud podcast. Our guest today is our Director of Buildings and Grounds, Bryce Swearngin. Bryce is not entirely new to the district, but fairly new still, so this is a great opportunity for us to get to know more about him and his path to joining us here at Ballard. So Bryce, thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So tell us about how you have found your way, several now months in. How have you find your way to Ballard?
For one, I've had a family full of educators and school employees for my entire existence. I'm married to a teacher, so the love for schools and schooling has always been a part of me. It's really no surprise that I'm still so involved with schools. It's just I knew that I couldn't teach like my wife and my dad, so I did it in another way to try to help the students and staff in the buildings and grounds aspect. A little bit about me. I went and graduated from Southeast Polk. In high school, track and art were my love and my obsession. It's what I focused everything on. I was going to pursue college track with scholarship offers, but because of a serious foot and leg injury, I wasn't able to do that. So because I wasn't able to pursue that in the collegiate level, I curbed college altogether and decided to go back and work for Southeast Polk as grounds and maintenance. And I was there for just shy of 6 years and went into the union at Local 45 as a tenor, learning the ins and outs of HVAC, repair, replacement, building, ductwork, all sorts of that. I did most of my work up in Ames, Iowa on the college campus at ISU, which that was a very, very, very interesting experience with football games and college kids. And it was just it was fun all around. But learned a lot from that. And then I was just about to finish my second year apprenticeship when the spring of 2016 or 2017, the buildings and grounds position with building maintenance and management at Bonnrant Farrar came open, and I decided that I'd jump back into the school. And I was there for 4.5 years and met many, many, many interesting, great, fantastic individuals. I honed my craft managing buildings from the ones well over 100,000 square feet to grounds as big as 80 some square miles. So it was very, very, very interesting, very, very, very fun. But again, when this job came up, I knew I had to do it, knew I had to take it, and I have never once regretted it. And I've been happier than I've ever been in the last 9 months. So.
Fantastic, Bryce. We're so glad that you're with us and that you bring all that experience. You talked about having some exposure all your life to the world of education. What about your most memorable experience related to education?
I would say, honestly, the small town I still live in, born and raised, is Mitchellville. But I would say that my best experience was the building that I went to school in and the teachers and staff that I had in that building. It was an old 2-story brick building built in 1925. The heat barely worked in the wintertime. The AC was non-existent in the summer. So the office had air conditioning, but that's just because they had window units in. So that was kind of a relief. But I never went to the principal's office as being in trouble. I just went there for other things. But that was the only relief you got from the heat. But it was a great building. I love that building. And I probably tip my hat to that building as being the first building that actually piqued my interest in looking at buildings in a different light other than just going and being inside of them and being a part of them. But yeah, it was full of character, great rooms, little areas, but more importantly, the teachers and the staff that were in there were a huge part of my career growing up, and then built on my love of schools and schooling, like I was saying earlier. But more importantly, I would think the most memorable thing is I live next to 5 or 6 of my teachers and school workers. It was a first grade teacher, third grade teacher, second grade teacher, librarian, and my counselor lived on the same block. So nonetheless, nothing I did in that small town got before I even touched step on my front step. My dad knew about it. So I didn't get away with much. But yeah, I would say that that old brick building had a lot of good memories, and that was probably my most memorable thing. But then coming full circle, when I worked for Southeast Polk, we ended up tearing that old building down, and I was fortunate enough to be able to get very, very, very good quality, large amounts of bricks from that building, which I used to build the landscaping on my garden with. So it's just, like I said, full circle to where that building meant so much to me. And then now I get to be able to continue to kind of keep that with myself. And I'm definitely taking those bricks with me when I move from my home. So
Yeah, those great old buildings are just something to just, I don't know, admire a little bit. There, a
they are.
friend of mine wrote a book with lots of photos of all the old schoolhouses in Iowa. I'll have to dig it up for you.
Yeah, I'd love to look at it. I love that old building. And they're very few and far in between anymore, but
They are.
it was the coolest experience. Just, I loved it.
Nice. Well, my next question for us is about what you like to do in your spare time. And I just want to tell our listeners that I get a glimpse of Bryce's beautiful family about every time I go into his office. So I'll be shocked if we don't get to talk about that.
You are a mind reader. That was exactly my first thing. My only thing really is I'm a huge family man. Everything I do is for my wife and our 3 kids. It's just we make sure that they have everything they need, and they deserve everything in the world. They're just the best. I mean, I'm kind of biased, but I think that everything about them is just fantastic. But when I'm not with my family, I like to hunt and fish and trap, and I'm a very, very, very avid outdoorsman. My dad owns hunting property in Oskaloosa, so in the spring and fall, I spend huge amounts of time down there. And if it swims, walks, crawls, flies, I'm probably going to go after it and have different ways to cook and eat things. So I'm never going to turn that down, but that's typically what I'll do. And then when I'm not, when it's not hunting season or something like that, I have a classic Chevy pickup, a 72 Chevy Cheyenne. I've restored that from the ground up. That was something that my dad and I did when I was 14 years old when I first bought the truck, and I've owned it since for almost 20 years now. And I've put way, way, way more money into that truck than I'd care to know. But it's not about what you put into it. It's the joy you get out of it. I don't say miles per gallon. I say smiles per gallon with that truck. So it's the best thing in the world, but I get that love of old cars from my dad and my grandpas. They were very avid in the old car business industry, whatever you want to call it. And they always took time out of their lives to show me how to repair cars and fix cars and maintain them. And I'm eternally grateful for that. So I can't wait to pass it on to my kids, but hopefully my son and daughters will want to be a part of it. But it's just gasoline's always been in my blood. So.
Bryce, what do you think that would surprise people to learn about you?
Oh, gosh. I really, really love to read, and I'm a big board game person. Like, I love board games. I'm probably a very unhealthy obsession with them. But I grew up and we didn't have cable TV or internet or video games until I think I was almost in mid-high school when I finally got internet in our house. So it was just, that was our main outlet, was board games and reading and, books. And that was something that my mom and dad instilled in, growing up closely in our own family, a little family. And it's always just been a huge part of my life, and it always will be. So I've spent, I don't know how much money on board games as well. I built a wooden cabinet in my garage specifically for board games. But yeah, I'll play any game. I love strategy games. I also like to build my own games. That's one of my favorite things to do. I like the little intricate details building your own stuff and the pieces and details of the instructions and rules. And yeah, it's just unhealthy obsession with board games and then books. I like fiction novels, really, really big into fiction. I like Michael Crichton, Derek Schubert, kind of like the apocalypse type books. And then, of course, the old classic Tom Clancy. You can't go wrong with Tom Clancy. But yeah, it was one of those things that I still have the love for that, just because, like I said, when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of TV or, electronic type of things. And I've always followed through with that. And my kids also love to draw and board games and stuff too. So it's a generational thing, but I would say that's probably my main one. Is I love board games to the point where it's very unhealthy.
I could think of some other habits that might be more unhealthy. So
for sure. I mean, it's just sometimes, you go into we always like to, again, one of my wife's things too, being a teacher, she loves books too. So it's kind of, we split that cross to bear type of thing. And we went into a half price bookstore when we were on vacation, and we spent more money than we wanted to just because we went in there. But I ended up coming out with 2 new board games. And I met my wife in the checkout aisle, and she just rolled her eyes and audibly scoffed at buying new board games to take home. And I didn't need them, but they looked fun, so I had to buy them.
Well, Bryce, as you said, you've been with us for about 9 months now. So it's been fun to watch you be excited about being here and then learn about the district. At this point, what are you most proud of when you think about the Ballard district?
I would say it's just being a part of something bigger. This district is the reputation that Ballard has and the storied history. You continue to build on it here, and it's not just like you're not living in the present. You're looking forward 10, 15, 20 years. And I knew that before I even interviewed. I started doing research and looking into things, and the planning that everything goes into in the details of everything. It is so intricate, and it all has to do with the staff and everybody that builds on it. And you can tell it's not just a self-centered thing. It's everybody has an input, and everybody can help build on the whole district as, a whole and an entity itself. And it's just the fact that you get the support you need to grow, and everything from a building side. It's truly the best district I've worked with. It's just the forefront. Everything is, what can we do to make the staff experience better, the student experience better, and overall make sure the longevity of these buildings are what we need. And it's not just flashy and shiny. Yes, it looks great, but structurally and like mechanically, it's beautiful. It's really something to be a part of, and I'm just happy and eternally grateful to be able to have the opportunity to be here.
So it's mutual. We appreciate all that expertise and your vision for staying ready for the future. And thanks for saying yes to visiting with us today.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you for reaching out.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ballard Proud. There's more to come as we dive into what it means to be Ballard Proud. Until next time, I'm Superintendent Danny Trimble, and I hope you have a great day.